Oh, hi, it's Dr. JP again. I was just looking at the old story of Ferdinand. Have you ever heard of this one? This is a real old classic. Very interesting story. Why don't I read it to you? This is one I remember from the real old days. Ferdinand. And story of Ferdinand. Ferdinand's starts off, once upon a time in Spain. Here is Spain, the castle and the countryside, and now we see some cows and stuff. There was a little bull, and his name was Ferdinand. Oh, there he is. And he's sitting out by the grass, smelling the flowers. And you see, all the other little bulls he lived with, they would just jump and butt their heads together. See? They were just doing that all day. But not Ferdinand. He didn't like to do that. He just liked to sit quietly and smell the flowers. There he is. And he had a favorite spot out in the pasture of a cork tree that he would go. And it was his favorite tree. And he would just sit out there in the shade all day. And he would smell the flowers. And he would just watch these other bulls messing around, bumping each other's heads all day. And sometimes, this is his mom, she was a cow, sometimes she would worry about him. She was afraid that he's going to be all lonesome all out there by himself, just sitting out there by the tree. And she would look at him. But you know what? She would say, "Why don't you run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your head like they do," she would say. But you know what? Ferdinand would shake his head. "I like it better here where I can just sit quietly and smell the flowers." His mother saw that he was not lonesome, and because she was an understanding mother, she even thought, she was an understanding. Even though she was a cow, she would just say, "Okay, all right, I'll just let him sit there under the tree and be happy if he wants to." And as the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew until he was very, very, very strong. You can see on this chart 1 week, 3 months, 1 year, 2 years. Now, all the other bulls who had grown up with him in the same pasture, they would fight each other all day. They would butt each other and stick each other with their horns. What they wanted most of all was to be picked up to fight at the bullfights at Madrid. So here, all the bulls are looking at the bullfight at the stadium in Madrid. And they say that was what they want to do. But not Ferdinand, no way. He liked to sit just quietly under that cork tree and smell those flowers. And one day, 5 men came in very funny hats to pick the biggest, fastest, roughest bull to fight in the bullfights in Madrid. And all the bulls started running around, snorting and butting and leaping and jumping so the men would think they were the strongest one. And the men would watch to see who were they gonna pick. Ferdinand, he knew that they wouldn't pick him, but he didn't care. So he went out to his favorite tree and he just sat down. Well, he was going to sit down, but he didn't look where he was sitting. And instead of sitting in the nice cool grass in the shade, well, he accidentally sat on a bumblebee. Uh-oh. And well, what would you do if you were a bumblebee and a bull sat on you? What would you do? You would sting him. And that's just what the bird did to Ferdinand. He stung him. Wow, did it hurt! Ferdinand jumped up and he ran around puffing and snorting and butting and pawing the ground as if he was just crazy. Just crazy. Just jumping around crazy. And all the 5 men, they saw him and they start shouting with joy because they said, "This is the largest, fiercest bull of all. This is the one we want for the fights. That is our bull. Get him." And they took him away. And they put him in a cart. And they took him to the bullfights in Madrid. Uh-oh, what a day it was. Flags were flying, bands were playing as the bullfights were coming. And all the lovely ladies, they had flowers in their hair. And they were saying, "Ferdinand, Ferdinand." But they had to parade into the ball ring. And first came the bandoleros with long sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick the bull and make him mad. They would take these pins and stick the bull with them and make the bull mad. Wow. Next came the picadores, and they came in on skinny horses, and they had long spears to stick the bull and make the bull even madder. There they are, ready to stick those spears in the bull and make him madder. And then came the matador, the proudest of all. He thought he was very handsome, and he bowed to the ladies, and he had a red cape with a sword, and he was supposed to stick the bull last of all. There's his sword. He's the one who's supposed to finish the bull and kill the bull. But then it was time for the bull. And do you know who that was who had to come out? It was Ferdinand. And there he is. A little bit scared to come out. They called him Ferdinand the Fierce, and all the bandolinos were afraid of him, and all the picadores were afraid of him, and the matador, he was really scared stiff. Look at him. He's sweating because they've heard about this bull. And, well, they led Ferdinand right out into the middle of the ring, and they were filming him. And it was a giant stadium filled with so many people. And everyone was shouting and clapping because they thought Ferdinand was going to fight fiercely and butt and snort and stick his horns all around. But even when they clapped and clapped and clapped, no. Did he do that? Well, when he got to the middle of the ring, Ferdinand just stopped. He he saw the flowers in all the lovely lady's hair, and he just sat down and started smelling the flowers. Well, this was not good. He wouldn't be fierce no matter what they did. He just sat and smelled. And the bandoleros were mad, and the picaderos were madder, and the matador, he was so mad. He cried because he couldn't show off his new cape and sword. And he cried and stamped his feet. And Ferdinand just sat there. And so, they couldn't have a bullfight. And they couldn't kill him. So they said, we gotta take him home. They put him in the bull cart, took him out of the castle. And, for all I know, he's still sitting there under his favorite cork tree, smelling the flowers just quietly. Just sitting there peacefully. And he's very happy. What end? Now some people say Ferdinand was a very smart bull for not fighting, because he didn't have to kill anybody or didn't get killed. I don't know. What do you think? And then he got to live the rest of his life, whereas other bulls in fights might not get to. What do you think? Hope you enjoyed it.